Well, hi everybody, and we are going to start in about 6 minutes. And I changed where I have my table, so I hope the reflection is better. I got 2 dogs underfoot and Joe watching TV downstairs. I told him don't come up for 2 hours. He laughed. Just let me know if there's a problem at all with the sound, and I'll see if I can fix that. Hi, Margaret. How are ya? Hey, Jason. Tim, how are ya? Doesn't the dog shake the paint off before it dries? It does sometimes, Tim. It's craziness. Hi, Michelle. Oh, and I had asked Jason, because this is actually Jason's dog, Sasha, and I'd asked if he wanted a light blue or a light green background, and he says green, please. So that's what we are going to do today. So it should be a fun day of painting. Hi, Todd. How are you? Todd, Joe is downstairs. I banished him to the basement for 2 hours because hi, Aunt. He doesn't mean to make noise, but he does. I even have the dogs up here. They're supposed to be downstairs. They keep coming upstairs. But it should be a fun day of painting. And these kind of paintings are so fun. Oh, Michelle, isn't Sasha adorable? I had asked the members, the people that had joined, if they would send me photographs of dogs. It didn't have to necessarily be their dog, but I wanted to be able to pick a dog from somebody that was part of Suburban Homesteader in Wyoming. And so I looked at all the photographs, and it was hard to decide. But then Sasha was just cute as can be, and I just thought, yep, that's what I'm going to do. Why not Wyoming not and Wyoming? I went to your site, your channel the other day. Interesting. Very interesting site. Margaret says, like your blue dog in the background. Well, this little blue dog, my cousin, little cousin, second cousin, he painted one similar when he was in grade school. And his grandma, my aunt, had sent me a photograph of it. And so I sent a message to Daniel, and I said, Daniel, could I paint this for one of my classes? And he was all excited. And so actually, when I had my painting shop, we actually painted that 3 different times because so many people liked it. And there was all kinds of colors, purple ones and pink ones and green ones, and it was so much fun. And the eyes are just craziness. But these are really fun dogs to do because you can have all kinds of crazy colors and colors that you couldn't normally do in a regular portrait of a dog. But I find them very fun, and I can do it in 2 hours, and they're fun to do. And they make you think. And so hopefully when this is all the way done, Jason at Homesteading North Michigan will love the painting because I will paint it today. And see how both of the paintings have black around them? I actually have to do that when it's completely dry. And so as soon as that happens, I will post a picture of the finished painting. But if I try to do that too early, then it smears and it just doesn't have the same effect. And so I'm sorry that by the end of the 2 hours, you won't see the actual finished. I might be able to show you a few lines where it's dried already, but I don't want to ruin it. Hi, Tony. Walsh Farms is here. How are you? And Tony is very much an inspiration to me. So you should check out Walsh Farms. He is just one of those good guys. And I am just so amazed at how many people I've met on YouTube that are just fabulous. Yeah, the color patterns can be so fun. And we have about 2 minutes before, a minute and a half before we can start painting, because I don't want to start painting before. But one thing I did from last time, I had some people that asked the colors, the actual colors of paint. And so each time I'm using a plate, I wrote those colors on there. So if somebody wanted to write those down, if they wanted to do exactly the same colorations, they would have the colors that I did. Farmstead Smith, how are you? Farmstead Smith has some videos on shorts. And I have to tell you, I learned a lot of things about making shorts from her. And shorts are a 60-second or less video. And all kinds of channels do them. And they're just fun. And I really appreciate that. She took the time and she just really said the ins and outs of how to make a short. Because you want them to be popular. And if you're not doing what YouTube expects you to do, they aren't going to be popular. Hi, Janie. How are you? Last week when I did the pears, Janie was the recipient of those pears. And I mailed that. And so sometime this week she will get it. And I hope she just loves it. Hi, Vanetta. How are ya? Vanetta, I did talk to the people from Super Clean, and they said they were going to contact you and the other two winners. So I hope that they already have this week. And otherwise, it'll be sometime this week that they will contact you. Is this your doggy? No, this is Jason's dog from Homesteading North Michigan. I had asked members to send me photographs of their dogs, and I was going to pick one of them, and I picked Sasha. We do have two dogs, but I can paint them anytime, so I didn't think that was fun. And it is 10 o'clock, so we can start painting. So this is the photograph that Jason sent me. And he actually sent me two photographs. But this is the one that I picked to do my drawing off of. And it's in marker, where when I... Hi, Al. How are ya? I don't usually do marker, but I find that with the camera, it is hard to see. Gail Southern Living is in the house. Hello, Gail. How are you? Now, Jason wants a green background. And so I am going to find my plate that has some green on it. And as I said earlier, every time I have a color palette, I am going to show you the different colors that I'm using. Cadmium yellow light, cadmium red light, phthalo yellow green, and Dioxazine purple. But he wants a light green, and so that is what we are going to give him. And so all of this part on the outside of the dog will be that combinations of yellow greens and greens. Kind of like how I did over in this painting. Now, one thing I do like to start before my background, which is unusual, because usually I always start with my background, is I want to start with the eyes and the nose. And the reason why I want to do that is just because I need them to dry, because a lot of times, especially like Sasha has some blue eyes, and I need that to dry, and then I am going to put another coat on and let that dry and put another coat on. Angie says, I'm working, so I'm going to hop out. Have a great day. Love you. Angie is my daughter. Love you too, Ange. And so we need to make a light blue. Now I do have a somewhat light blue right here, but it's a little bit too dark. And so when I take my brushes, always when it's an acrylic paint, you have to dip it in water so that the bristles of the brush have water molecules all the way around. And so I'm going to just pull a little blue, put it over here, and grab a little white and mix that in there. And see how I can make that a lighter blue? Now there's not very much space in around where she has black and where she has blue on her eyes. And so we're just going to start with that just because I need that to dry. See how that's got that blue in there? And then she's got blue right here too. And I just need that to dry. And those blues that I'm using, I have cerulean blue, titanium white, and ultramarine. But the cerulean blue is what I used. Now Sasha has a pink nose. Would I have to keep it pink? No. But it's really cute. And so we're going to put the pink stuff in there too. So you always rinse your brush out. I just drag it along the bottom. Oh, hi Day. Monty's in Motion are here. Last night I watched Monty's in Motion, Day over there. They were cutting mushrooms, sauteing them. It looked amazing. Nightbot called you last year's model. What does that mean, Tim? Oh, Tim, he's a rascal. Oh, Kevin, Lazy Pond Farm is here. Hello. 9252 Life Off Grid is here. Hi, Chad. All my favorite men, except for Doug, is not in here. My favorite men on YouTube, I tell you. It's amazing. Okay, titanium white, Grumbacher red. We need pink. Now, it's a crazy thing about red and white. Hey, Steph, how are ya? Steph says, hi, Sandy and everybody. I'm able to watch because work sent me home from having a cold. She has had a cold all week. Oh, poor girl. Kevin says, haha, thanks, Sandy. Good to be someone's favorite. You are, I tell you. You, Tim, Chad, Doug, Jason, Tony. Oh, there's wonderful men on YouTube, I tell you. Okay, so we're going to get it wet. We're going to grab some white, and we're literally only going to touch the tip of the red, and then we're going to mix it together. If we have to add more red, we can. But see how, look at how pink that is, and we didn't hardly use a dot of pink. So then we're going to take Sasha's nose, and the type of dog Sasha is, her nose has some pink and some black. And it's just a matter of doing those pink parts. The rest of Sasha is going to be fun, crazy colors. But those two things I wanted to keep exactly how she was. Now, pink is a light color. It'll absorb into my canvas some, and we'll have to put another one. But we're going to do the background now. We're going to use a wide brush. We're going to dip it in water. And we're using a combination of greens and yellows. I'm just going to put it, I'm not really mixing it too bad. And I'm just going to go around. Oh, one thing I do need to know, Jason, do you want me to paint the sides or not paint the sides? Now, because this is green, it will give you the idea that it's summertime, springtime, and it will make it very fun. Now, always remember, you just turn your brush to the side when you get by an edge. But I like when you do hash marks and you're just going back and forth. Nightbot is talking to D. D, Nightbot doesn't like capital letters, so maybe that's what you did. Just doesn't like it. She's talking back to Nightbot. That is awesome. Jason says, nope, don't paint the sides. Thank you very much. Because if you put it in a frame, you don't need to paint the sides. And see how fast it is when you're just doing the hash marks back and forth? I also like it because it becomes very textural, because there'll be parts of the paint that are thicker than other parts. Now this is a stick in Sasha's mouth. So we are going to go around her body some. Don't worry when you're painting if you go inside the lines a little bit. And since I did marker, it's going to be thicker than if I just drew pencil anyway. And because we're doing the background before we do the foreground, we can also add, say I wanted to put some leaves on the stick, or I wanted to put, you know, little side branches off the stick. I could do that because this background will be completely dry by the time I'm done with the dog. And then we're going to go down by her front chest. And even though the photograph show her front legs, I'm not going to show that in the canvas because this is a 12 by 12 canvas. I would have to have a longer canvas if I was going to show the rest of her body. But doesn't it make a fun background? Now, could I add some other colors in the background? I could, but I asked Jason, light green or light blue. So we are going to keep it just the way he asked for it. Kevin at Lazy Pond Farms says he's got to go. Thanks for stopping by, Kevin. And we're going to go around Sasha's tail. This is the nice thing about a flat brush. It is really easy to go around things, and the paint just flows with it. And remember, if you ever make a mistake, the best thing about acrylic is you just let it dry and you can start again. Where when I paint with watercolor, that's very unforgiving. And I have to really think about before I start painting exactly where I'm going to put colors, unless I put some stuff down that I can peel off later. Now, as you can see, there's variegated colors, but I will put a second coat on this because you always have to assume that your very first layer of paint is a base coat, and it just makes your colors richer. And we just have a little part right down here by her backside. And I'm going to lift that up. And I'm going to turn it a little bit. Don't ever be afraid to turn your canvas while you're painting. Cool. Now I'm just going to let that dry just a few minutes, and then we'll be back and we'll do a second coat on it. But let's do some things while we're waiting. So I'm just going to wash this brush out. I'm actually going to wash it out in a different cup because this had my white and my light blue. And so I'm going to use this one over here. Last week I only had one cup and my water was so dirty by the time I was done. I didn't like it. Can you tell I use this to paint with? Ah, it's everywhere. I'm going to take my little brush again, and I'm going to go back to my blue. I'm going to do another coat on Sasha's eyes. So we need the little brush. I'm going to do another coat on there. Because I want her eyes to stand out. Now, dogs have white around their eyeballs. Most animals do, but a gorilla doesn't. Their eyes are just that black. And so it's interesting when they do cartoons of gorillas and they have white like a human. I think it makes them more personable. Okay, I'm going to add white right along here and right in here. Because then when we do the black and then the accents, it will really stand out. Now, white always wants to absorb. It wants to absorb onto a color underneath of it. It wants to absorb into the canvas. Even when you put the gesso underneath it, it still wants to absorb. So you just have to know that you have to put it on multiple times. Now, since I have the white, I'm going to put her teeth also. And with the white, we'll have to probably put easily 3 coats on. And since we have the little brush, we might as well do one more coat on our pink. Just so that it can start to really pop. And we'll rinse that out. Jason says, she's so cute. Thank you so much. She is adorable. She's an adorable dog, Jason. So I need some black. And I am using Mars black from the black. So let's do some more work on her eyes because I'm just letting that background get a little bit darker. See, here's my Mars black. A lot of times I'll use a dark blue, a cobalt blue. I have a Thalo blue on this plate too. But I need to put those lines on the outside of the blue, and I need to put in her pupil. When you do a dog or a cat picture, actually any animal picture, if you can get some spectacular eyes, even if the rest of the painting isn't what you want, it can be just spectacular because of those eyes. And I think the eyes can just really start to change a picture. And then when we put the accent, those dark lines at the end, it just makes it pop even more. And by then, the painting is all the way dry, and I can actually even put some little dots of white in there too, which will help. And always remember, acrylic, if you make a mistake, you can come back and fix it. I think I'm going to put some nostrils in there because I'm using the black anyway. And we'll let that sit, and we can come back to those and put their second coats on. But see how that starts to change her already? I totally agree. Oh, and Al says, pink noses on dogs and cats are my kryptonite. Oh, that is so sweet, Al. Isn't it cute, though, that dogs can have such pink noses, and it's never just all pink. It's got pink, and it's got browns or blacks, and it's just so fun. Now my background's not quite dry, so we're going to have to do starting some colors. Now, first of all, we might as well do the stick. And I'm going to do the stick in a light brown at first, and then I'm going to add some accents to it. And actually, what the color I'm actually using isn't even light brown. It's called yellow ochre. But I use it in pictures with browns all the time. And so we're just going to put a first layer on there. It's always interesting when you're painting because it really comes together that last 15 minutes when you've gotten the second coats on everything and you put in the accents and those little extra special little things. Because if you just left it plain, it would just be so boring and it would look very flat. But if we can add some other colors, shades, hues in there, it changes it completely. Now, even though we're going to do a lot of different fun colors, Sasha is very dark colored on this side. And then over here, it's very dark colors. It's dark colors here. So even though we're not going to use just black or brown, I still want those parts to be the dark colors and these parts to be the light colors. I don't want to take away too much from her, even though we're making a fun painting. Okay, so there we have the stick. Now, because we're doing dark colors on where she has it, I think like dark blues, dark greens are the colors to do. So I'm going to take a medium flat brush. Get it wet, of course. And I'm going to put in this part this Thalo green. It's a dark green. Over on this side, I'm going to put, and even down into right in here, I'm going to do the dark blue, the Thalo blue. And I thought the dark green because it's a good contrast with the green that's up above it. Now remember, this is only our base coat. So when we go to do the second coat, it'll be much darker. In her coloration, she has some parts that reflected light right here. So that's why those little shapes are there. And I'm going to use a different color for that. And because it's a flat brush, you can just go right around where you drew. And this is a fun green color. I use it a lot when I'm doing landscapes, because I can blend it with so many different other greens and blues and yellows, and it can make a good accent on leaves, and I've just really enjoyed using this paint. Now, you can buy paints, ones that cost you a lot of money. You can buy paints that cost you hardly any money. And I have some that are very expensive and some that are really not, they're very much a student grade. But what I do find with a student grade is a lot of times you have to put in multiple coats, multiple layers of paint. So if all you can afford is the student grade paints, buy the student grade paints. And you can just put more than one coat. You know, probably you might end up, instead of putting 2 coats, you're putting 4 coats on. Now see, isn't that fun? Makes her eye more pronounced. Yeah, I'm liking it. I hope you like it, Jason. I'm going to rinse and we're going to put the blue over on this side. Using the same brush. Now, could I use the same color when I go to do Sasha's ear right here? I could, but I'm not going to, just because I want it to pop out more. And I actually think I'm going to use the purple on her ear over there. But painting is a fun hobby. It's relaxing to me, though sometimes when I do a commission, it is not relaxing. It's very stressful. One time I was doing a commission for a dog. It was a dachshund, short-haired dachshund. And so they sent me pictures. And so I painted it. It probably took me 30 hours or something to paint it. And I gave it to him, and the gentleman said, well, it doesn't have any gray in her hair. And I said, you didn't give me a photograph with gray in her hair. The dog had gotten a lot older, but they gave me pictures, photographs that were when the dog was younger. And it was like, if I don't see the dog in person, how would I know that? And so 5 hours later, I gave them back their dog picture. But it really turned out very nice, and I really liked it. Oh, Jason says he's liking it. That always makes me happy. Now, next week, I thought since I did a dog, I need to do a cat. So I will need photographs if somebody has a cat. See down here? This is inside Sasha's mouth. I'm going to use the same blue right here. I might as well do it now, and that way I do not have to rinse my brush out yet. And we're going to go around her teeth. I think it was, well, I'm not sure if it was Lazy Pond Farms. You sound like my sis. Ah, that is so fun. I think it was Lazy Pond Farms, Kevin over at Lazy Pond Farms, that said, Jason's dog eats people. I didn't believe him. I know he was joking. But I teased them. Oh, should I paint a dog that eats people? Awesome. See, now you can see the distinction between the mouth and the rest of the nose. It's amazing. You start putting those colors in, and it's amazing. I cannot read that. So we're going to let those dry right now, and we're going to put our second coat all the way around on our background. And that way our background will be finished. So then when I start to work on the branch that the puppy dog's holding, I don't have to worry about it blending in. Oh, that was Chad that said it. Yeah, I knew he was teasing. Okay, so we're rinsing out our brush. We're going to switch back to our big brush. Let's set that down. And we're going back to our light colors. Remember, every time I have my palettes, people asked if I would show what kind of paints they are. Cadmium yellow light, cadmium red light, phthalo yellow green, and the purple. Dioxazine. I don't know why they have such crazy names. Always get our brush wet. We always need water molecules around our brush. Anytime you're painting and you're all of a sudden it starts to drag, you're stopping and starting. Sometimes it's because you're out of paint, but a lot of times it's because you are out of water. Paper Handcraft, how are ya? Thank you for stopping by. Okay, so we're putting our second coat on. And remember, our background is all hash marks. It gives you a lot of good variegation. It gives you texture. And Jason said I did not have to do the sides, so I am not doing the sides. Whenever you put it in a frame, it's usually better not to, especially if it's a really tight fitting frame. We go around our edges, and then we'll come back and do our hash brush strokes. Always remember, you make a mistake in acrylic, and it's totally okay because you let it dry and you can fix it. And it's fun that when you're doing these hash, you'll get streaks of yellow and streaks of green, or whatever color you're using, of course. But we're using greens and yellows today. There, pop that down. And I got to send my flat brush along the edges. I find it very much easier if you do your background first and just work your way forward. Sometimes you have to go back in and just fix things. That's just the case sometimes. But if you can get your background the way you want to beforehand, it can be much better for you. And if you want some parts darker and some parts lighter, like I'm making this side of the canvas lighter than this side, you're just going to add more of that color. We're going around our branch and around her chest part. Top part of the branch. And around Sasha's head. And I just really appreciate Jason sending this photograph to me because I had asked a lot of people and I got a bunch of photographs and I had to decide. Hard thing to do. But I just fell in love with her. And so I just thought she is the one I need to paint. I'm going to lift that up. And remember, when you're painting, don't feel worried about turning your canvas completely a different direction if you need to. Okay, I'm happy with that background. We're rinsing that, and now we're just going to work on the dog. Now we're doing our dark colors right now. And try chop from GTA. Monto, you're going to have to tell me what that means. Thanks, Dee. Oh, Steph has 2 cats. Steph, send me pictures. I'll pick which cat that I think I can do the funnest painting with. Oh, like Friday. So if you guys can send me pictures of cats before then, that would be awesome. Okay, we have green. We have blue. Let's do some purple there. I'm using my medium brush, getting it a little bit wet. Paint on both sides. And I also think I'm going to make her tail this purple also. Now, of course, the colors will be darker when we go to put the next coats on, but it gives you the idea of what we're working towards. And it just shows you, it doesn't matter what colors you love, you can make a great painting. Monto says, he's a dog on a game named Grand Theft Auto. He's very popular with gamers. Oh, I will look him up. Monto, Ho, I'm an old woman. I don't play games, but I will look him up because that could be a fun painting to do. Joe used to play a game called it's about war, and I just saw a commercial for a new version of it. Sorry, it just slipped my brain what it's called. It'll probably pop back in there. But the new one was so realistic. It was like President Reagan looked like President Reagan. I mean, you could still tell he was a Call of Duty. That's right, Al. Joe used to play Call of Duty all the time. And then I don't know, he got busy doing other things, so he stopped doing it. But there was a commercial for the new Call of Duty, and I saw him intensely watching the commercial, and I thought, I betcha he is going to get Call of Duty. Now, some big news for Joe. I don't know if you guys know, but he has been taking jiu-jitsu for, 7 years, something like that. And last night he tested for his black belt. And he got a black belt. So they have a ceremony on Thursday night, and he officially gets to get his black belt. And I get to be the last person that, I guess they pass it around, they say stuff, but I'm the last person to hold it and then give it to Joe because he's become a black belt. So I'm really proud of him. It was something that he wanted to do. And I think, because Joe is 65 years old. And he has worked his butt off to be able to get that black belt. He practices and practices and practices. And I have to tell you, I'm just so proud of him. Because it doesn't matter what age you are, you can do stuff. And I'm just amazed. He always wanted me to take these classes, but it makes me laugh every time he makes me practice with him. So I just never thought I could do it. And because I would rather garden. I'd rather paint. I'd rather do a lot of things. But that's Joe's thing, and I'm just proud of him that he got that. So I told him he's like that old man on Karate Kid. And people come in our yard and he can just flip them right down and kick their butts. What do you think? Are you liking him so far, or liking her so far? I am liking her. Very cool. Okay, now all of this part right here. Oh, and you know what I missed? I have to lift her up. Right down here should be green because this is her belly right here. So let me put that in there. Such a little teeny spot. I didn't get it. And when it sits down in the ridge, you don't hardly see it. So anyway, this part all right in here is dark. And then we have light parts. But we also have some dark right here by her nose. And then some of it is shadowy, but it's really, she's very white right in there. It's just shadow. And so where I've drawn these different parts is where we're going to do some different colors. Now I'm going to take this purple and I'm going to make these two dots right here purple because that was a darker reflection that she had in her coloration. And I'm sure it was just probably the light that did that, but I thought it was interesting. And I don't want it light colors. And by the time we get our second coat of purple on, it will be great. Well, we're at 40 minutes, so she's coming along. Thanks, Margaret. I will tell Joe. He's, you know, I know he was nervous. Al, I'm a sucker for blue eyes too, and pink noses. Just so fun, I tell you. We're going to take some of that purple, and we're going to put purple here, but I'm going to use the dark blue in these parts. Now, could we put some white in her? We could, but I'm not going to. I mean, I can do it on accents to reflect on the nose and the eyes, but she's supposed to be just fun, and I don't want her to, I guess I don't want her to look that realistic. I want her to look like a dog, of course, but not like I'm doing a portrait. Let's do the blue. And we're using a Thalo blue. And I might switch brushes, but we'll see how it goes. Now, dogs' mouths are interesting because they have pinks in them, but then a lot of times they have blacks in them, or browns. Sometimes they're spotted inside. It's just really amazing the different colors that they have. And Sasha has some pink in here, but it's darker along the lines. In fact, I need to go, I think I'm going to put pink in here, and then I'll add some of the purple dots in there. But then see right here where it's really dark? Because I did blue here, I'm going to use purple over here. So let's switch back over to our purple. And we'll go right along the teeth. And when we use our accent, our little black lines, I'll show you what I use for that. This is a black paint that's thinned, and it has a tip. And when the painting is dry, I lay it flat, and that way I can go over everything. And it makes it so the thinner black paint won't run. It doesn't blend into anything else because these are all dry. And it just really can pronounce the sections. Just make it fun. Or more fun, I guess. I'm actually going to go purple right along here. And then we're going to do a line of purple, and the rest of it we're going to put pink. Hi, Melanie. How are ya? She says, that's coming together well. Thank you. Oh, I will tell Joe thanks for his service. Yeah, Joe was in the Army, and I'm so proud of all of our servicemen and women. Just amazing. You know, put your life on the line. I mean, they are some brave individuals. You're going to go right down there. Okay, now we're going to do our last dark part, and then we're going to do all of our lights. Now, of course, remember, we'll only have the first coats on those. The background has all their coats. And because I use this green over here, that's what I'm going to use in the main part of Sasha's body. And it's a Thalo. And I'm putting my lids on wrong. It's a Thalo green. I'm going to go right along the edge, across the tail. Now, this is a line that I drew. And when I go to put this black, that will be a line that I draw again. If you're just wondering why I'm going to actually paint over top of it. And this is a fun coloration that Sasha has. When I looked in the photograph, it's almost like a 3-leaf clover. We're just going to push that paint around. And this dot right here, I'm going to use a light color on that. I'm just going to push that around. Another fun thing about using that black as a outliner, the reason why I did those paintings like that was because I think I was at, well, I'd seen a Picasso exhibit, and then I saw a Van Gogh exhibit, and I liked the idea of how a lot of painters would outline the things that they would do, irises, sunflowers, not necessarily with black always, but they were outlining, and it made them more striking. And so I thought it would be fun to do that on these little animals. One time in my shop, we had the Fur Foundation came in, and they're a group of people that do things. Oh, Mulberry Branch Farm is in. Hey, how are ya? And they help people that in our community that if they can't afford to have, well, maybe your dog needs surgery, or maybe your dog needs medicine or rabies, and you can't afford it, they'll pay for it. And they do all kinds of fundraisers, and you fill out an application, and they help people. And they came into the shop 2 different days, and I think total we did, gosh, because we were using two of the rooms, I think we probably did way over 100 dog photographs that we turned into paintings. It was the most fun I had painting with that such a large group. And people had all kinds of stories about their dogs, and it was just amazing. And some of the dogs had passed, and it was just emotional for some people, painting their dogs that had passed. But I think maybe very healing to them too. Now, when we go to do the light colors that we might use, you might use oranges, yellows, grays, light reds, light tans, just anything that you would think that would contrast the dark colors, but not take away from those colors or be, just not match. You don't want that to happen. But yeah, I'm liking her. Homestead Aquarius, how are you? And Mrs. Homesteading Northern Michigan, what do you think of Sasha? And Jason, am I right that Dee is your mom? Do you go to paint and sips? I used to have a shop a few years ago, because now I just paint at home. That's exactly what we did. You brought your own bottle of wine, and for 2 hours, I taught people how to paint something, depending on what the night was. It could have been landscape, peacocks, horses, just all kinds of stuff. They're very fun, and it's interesting. Sometimes people surprise themselves, and sometimes people have too much to drink, and I think the next morning they say, did I paint that? Dee says, I was mommy 40 years ago. Well, then you must be mommy still then. Okay, now we're switching to lights. I think I'm going to first we have to use our little brush on the tiny ones, yellow ochre, and I'm going to make that right here. It's a little bit above Sasha's eye there. And I think I'm going to use it right here too, which was a kind of just a shadow on the photograph, because Sasha's basically the 2 colors plus her pink. And I think I'm going to use that right here. Now it is the same color as the branch, but I'm going to add other colors to that stick, so it'll be fine. Okay, we're rinsing. Al says, Sasha's reminding me of Blue from the Blue Clues. That's awesome. Okay, so we're switching colors again. Now, I would like to use some very light blue. The blue that Sasha has in her eyes. And I think I'm going to use that right here. Well, I'm going to make it a little bit lighter than even her eyes. So we had used the, sorry, I always said I would show this. The cerulean blue and the titanium white. And so I have a little bit right here. But what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add some more white to it just to make it lighter. And I'm going to use that right there. Because once we get these light colors down, all we have to do is put our second coats. We're just repeating those same colors. And then it's a process of letting it dry, and then I can put the black on there. Then Jason, I will let that dry out completely. Oh, that's way too much paint. If you get way too much paint on your brush, the easiest way to do, because I always use plates because then I can throw them away. You just got to drag it. Because if it gets too thick, the bristles on your brush will spread and it will not stay in the lines that you want it to. Okay. Let's add some yellow. And I think I'm going to put yellow here, down over into here. And so I'll be careful because I don't want to pull the green. So I'm just going to go from this side. And it's kind of nice to do colors that pull your background back and forth. And like I've said over again, if you ever want to do a painting of acrylic, you just have to, if you make a mistake, you just have to let it dry. Now these little dots here, that's where Sasha's whiskers come out. And I will use this to make the little tiny dots. And I'm going around her eyes, so I have to have my brush very thin. I like it. Okay, I think I'm also going to put the yellow. Yeah, I think right here. Okay, and I'm going to use the yellow right here where she has coloration on her ear. Cool. I am going to use orange right in here. So I have a red. It's a cadmium red and the cadmium yellow. They're both light ones because they have different hues. They have light, they have medium, they have the regular dark, full-bodied. So I'm going to just grab a little bit and I'm going to mix that to make an orange. Do I have tubes of orange? Yes. But if you can mix, if you have all your primary and secondary colors, you can make any color you want. Well, of course, your black and your white, but yeah, because that makes that spot that she has very pronounced. We're going to go up here. Right here. Fun! And I think I actually am going to take that orange and go right down in here too. So I have to lift my canvas up a little bit. I'm going to come along here because this is one of her legs right here. Come back over here. Cool. And you can see how the paint is starting to dry, and so then you have the lighter and the darker. But when you do the second coat, then it becomes that solid color. I think right in here, we're going to make a light gray for a couple reasons. Probably the main reason is I think it will make it her face pull out towards us. Oh, Jason says, I listen to 90s alternative when I paint. That's awesome. It's fun to mix colors. It is, Day. It's totally fun. And the hard thing about it is when you mix that color, you have to make enough. You always have to make extra. Because if you have to come back in and do another coat, or you want to add it in another spot, to get it exactly the same is sometimes a difficult thing to do. Okay, so we need our black, our Mars black. And I need some white. So what I'm going to do is, see how I have a whole bunch of white right here? I'm just going to grab, whoop, Sasha fell down. I'm just going to grab a little teeny bit of black. See how I have just a little bit? And I'm going to mix it over here because I just want a light gray. And black is like red. You just need a little teeny bit. I think it's even darker than I want. There. Let's see. No, that's even too dark for me. I'm going to have to just grab a little bit and mix it over here. There, much better. Because I don't want it too dark. And this will make it fun when I do her little whisker little marks. Now, if I want to make it go a little bit lighter on some of the parts, when I grab the paint, I just grab a little bit more white with it. And we're just filling in this space. Yeah, that's cool. Gotta blend this a little bit. I don't want it looking too, I want the bridge of the nose, but I don't want it like lines. Oh yeah, that's better. I moved where I am painting this week because the light kept reflecting as it moved across, the sun was moving across the sky, and it kept changing, and sometimes it was hard to see, and so I changed that. Now I do think I need something dark right here because I want the chin to be lifted up more. And so I think I'm going to use this green. Monty in Motions, that's Day. She says, I'm not very good, but we find it relaxing or motivating depending on the playlist. So you guys must be talking about playlists. Is it Cujo? Yes, that's what it is. Yes. No, this is Sasha. And Sasha is is Jason's dog at Homesteading North Michigan. So funny. Maybe I should use the blue because I use green here and I use green here. I think the blue. Okay. So this is Thalo blue again because I don't want it to blend away. And so I'm going to use that dark right there. Even though Sasha is white in this part, we'll use it more as a shadow. And take it so it's a shadow all the way over. Oh yeah, because that lifts her chin up. Yeah, I'm liking that. Yeah, Jason says, according to Chad, she is, because Chad says that Sasha is a man-eater. But we know it's not true. So this is the section that we need. Now we have a couple options. I could go a really light gray. I could do a yellow. I think I'm going to go even. See, if I go too light of gray, then you don't really see this part right here. It's always interesting when you're trying to make fun, funky dogs because like yesterday, I had all my colors picked out. But then you start painting and you go, no, I think I'm going to do it this way. Because the painting becomes alive. Could you draw a hip-hop cover like Lil Uzi? I would have to look up that album. You're tough on me. He keeps asking me questions that I have to look up because when you're an old woman, you don't know these things. But I will look that up. I have drawn a lot of fun, funky paintings. I've done t-shirts for people with crazy colors and paint, lines and just crazy stuff. So more likely, yes. Yes, I mean paint. I could paint it too, yes. Yes. I think I'm going to make a blue right along here first. But instead of using the Cerulean blue, I'm going to use this blue, Ultramarine. Totally different blues. So I'm going to put a little bit of white over here and just a little bit of blue. See how completely different those blues are? So I'm going to start right here. Add a little bit more white. I'm trying to become a fan. Thank you. That is so sweet of you. Oh, do you want to know what I'm doing a video on tomorrow? I am doing a video on smoke and cheese. Now, I've done a video last spring on smoke and cheese, but I'm actually going to challenge. See, this is not enough contrast. We have to do a different color. That's all there is to it. It has to be a different color. Let's see what we can mix up. What color we can make. Maybe a light purple. Let me grab some white. Otherwise, I'm going to go completely different and do red. Oh yeah, see, that's more contrast. That's better. And I will just blend the purple up into the blue. If your paints are still wet, it makes it pretty easy to blend one color to another color. So anyway, I am doing smoked cheese tomorrow. Then I'm going to challenge, because I have some friends on YouTube that make smoked cheese. I'm going to challenge them to make some smoked cheese. Now, when you make smoked cheese, you make it, you smoke it, and then it goes in the refrigerator for about 6 weeks. And I like to vacuum seal it in there. And then I'd like to have everybody that does the challenge give some cheese away. So no matter who is making the cheese or what type they are making, somebody some people can win some fabulous cheese. I am making smoked pepper jack tomorrow because that is my favorite. We've tried a lot of different cheddars and Gouda and different things, but I still like the pepper jack the best. Okay, now we're going to do all the second coats. Then the colors really start to pop. Never heard of that, honestly. Okay, we're starting with our green. And see how the second coat made such a difference from the first coat. The colors are dry, and they just really become the color that when you took it out of the tube, you wanted. Oh, Steph says smoked Gouda for me. Oh, it probably is good in mac and cheese. He's stupid. I hate her drawing. Or she. Now, we are on a live, but I do expect everyone to be appropriate. If somebody doesn't like my drawing, you don't have to watch my drawing, my painting. Totally up to you. But don't be inappropriate or I will make Nightbot kick you off. I think you have a troll. Block them, Sandy. See, isn't it weird that, you know, people can not like something, but I don't want to let people be rude. Because everybody's different, you know? Do I like everything everybody does? Of course I don't. But I am always appropriate on somebody's channel. Always. Because people work hard to be on YouTube. Sometimes people, I think, that just watch YouTube, they think it's just so easy and anybody can do it, but it is not easy. It is put yourself out there. And it's just, it's interesting. You know, Dave, we tried to make some Swiss cheese one. I liked it. Joe didn't like it at all. But I think those are just personal choices because I love Swiss cheese too. But of all the cheeses we've smoked, I totally think my favorite is pepper jack. I guess it's because you're eating it and all of a sudden you get that hotness. And I have tried different types of pepper jack, and some of it is better than other ones. My daughter's favorite is Gouda, though, just like Steph. See how it's getting darker and richer and fuller. Al says to ignore the troll. It's interesting that when I first started YouTube, people talked about trolls, but I didn't have any idea what they were. And then the more subscribers you get, the more they're there. Are we going to be making cheeses with you? Margaret, I have made cheeses before. And, you know, we're going down to Arizona for the winter. First time. We'll see how we like it. Joe will love it. He'll golf the whole time. I, on the other hand, am very apprehensive. I will love seeing my parents all winter, you know, because they're getting older. But I'm concerned because I love my winters. But when I'm down there, I could bring my cheese making stuff and I could do a video down there. Otherwise, I could do it when I get back. But making cheese is a fun thing to do. And then smoking your own cheese is even better. Very cool. Let's do our blues and purples. Now we're at 1 hour and 20 minutes, and I figured it'd be about 2 hours. How do you smoke cheese? We have a smoker, and I have what is a cylinder that has holes through it that I put little pellets in there. And so I wait till it's a day that's about 30 degrees or below. And I set that smoker tube and the cheese out there. And it smokes for, depending on the cheese, 6 hours. And then you have to let it age for 6 weeks. And it's amazing. I mean, really amazing. And we just love it with crackers or salami or on a vegetable tray. It's just wonderful. Somebody says, hello there, Nightbot, I hate you. Well, I have Nightbot to help me. So just don't put capital letters. And for the most part, Nightbot will like you. Unless you say something inappropriate, then Nightbot will not like you. So we're just putting our second coats on our dark. And we have blue here in the mouth and around part of the pink of the nose. And right down here, because we wanted some shadowing. Hello there. I don't know who you are, but be careful because otherwise I'll just block you. Oh, Al, your power went out. Thanks so much for being here, though. And then let's do our purple. Oh, Nightbot is a computer ran program. It helps people when they're doing lives if they don't have people that are monitors, and they can help with trolls. Oh, thanks, Jason, for typing that. Let's do some purple. And see how that second coat just really changes it. Chad says that his power's been off since they went off grid. That would be true. I was watching Jason put in his box for part of his solar panels. It was like mind-boggling just how complex it is. I was just amazed. And I know a lot of people are off grid, and I am just so amazed at those people. But we are considering getting solar. And then we're just going to do, yeah, Jason sent me the picture of Sasha, and I am painting his dog. Susan says she wants to go off grid so badly. I totally agree. There's just so many things that would be so much nicer if I was off grid. But we are considering it. Even though you live in a suburb, it's nice not to have that. And my parents now down in Arizona have all solar. And they are really loving it. And they had a company install it. They didn't have to install it themselves. So now we're doing the second coats on all the lights. But it makes the color more solid, that second coat. Now, one thing to remember when you're painting with yellows, yellows are really actually translucent. And so sometimes, depending on what you're doing and the actual yellow you're using, you may have to mix it with white. Otherwise, you're putting so many layers on. And so when you go to do these second coats, it's much faster than when you laid the first coat down onto it. Let's switch to our orange. And Joe is up. He must be done watching his movies.
Yeah. Looks beautiful, baby.
They can hear you. They did say congratulations on becoming a black belt, though.
Woo-hoo. Thank you.
We're going to lift that back up again because we need to get that second coat right there. Now, as soon as we get the second coat on, I am going to finish the video because I do have to let it all the way dry. And then I'm going to put all these black lines onto it. But it has to lay flat and it has to be, yes, Chad, he became a black belt. He tested last night. So they have the ceremony tomorrow and it's very exciting. And after I put that black piping on there, I'll let it dry. I have a special sealer. And then it would, hello there. Jason is from Homesteading North Michigan. Chad is from 9252 Life Off Grid. And after it's all the way sealed, I let it dry for a couple days and then I'll mail it out to you. And we're gonna do that light blue in here. And when I do the piping, that's when I'll make the stick look more like a stick. Because I can put some lines in there and it'll be real interesting. And let's do our gray again. See, this is the nice thing about having multiple plates because you can mix and then you have all of your colors. It is awesome that he's got a black belt, you know, and he not only had to spar with the other guys, he had to spar with, excuse me, their grandmaster. And so I didn't get to go. I wanted to see it, but they don't let people come in when they're doing the testing. They'll let you come in for the ceremony, but not for the testing. And so I get to go tomorrow night. Now see how those little dots where the whiskers come, they're kind of disappearing. But when it dries a little bit, they'll be very faint and I'll still be able to see them. Do you live right in Oklahoma City? I have a lot of relatives that live in Moore. Janie, you're so sweet. Thank you. Okay, and then we've got this purple to do. Now, it won't take too long for these to dry. And I'm so pleased and so lucky. Sorry, I was reading what everybody was saying. It won't take too long for the paint to dry. I'll let it dry probably about an hour, hour and a half. And I'll put on those black lines. And then I'm going to post a picture. Now, it won't be sealed because it has to dry longer than that. But you will get the full effect of the black lines on the painting. And so that should be up, like it's about 11:30, so around 1 o'clock I should have that up for you. But see how much more solid and a better color it is than right here? And it's just a matter of making sure that you have at least 2 coats of acrylic. Sometimes, depending on what I want, the effect I want, I'll have 3 coats. It just depends, because sometimes you just need that stark color just really popping out. And so that's just what you do. So there we go. I'm going to let that dry. Then I will post about 1 o'clock, 1:15, depending on how fast it dries. And you will see the finished puppy dog. So Jason at Homesteading North Michigan, I appreciate you sending me the picture of Sasha. I do need photographs of cats. So if you guys will email me pictures of cats, I will pick one of those cat photographs. And next Wednesday at 10 o'clock, we will do a fun cat painting. And I just appreciate everybody that stuck around. And I just really thank all my subscribers. If you're not a subscriber, please subscribe, like the video, and I will see you next time.